Joining us today is a 3-time Emmy-winning journalist, a trailblazing producer, and a true icon in entertainment media. For over a decade, she was the face of E! News, reporting from every major red carpet in Hollywood. But it was her courageous stand for equal pay that turned her into a global voice for change. Today, she is the host of the hit podcast Cat Sadler Now, and the founder of Lovebug Entertainment. Please welcome the incredible Catt Sadler.
Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. And today is a big day for me because I am joined live and in person. I can't believe I can actually touch her today with Catt Sadler, who you probably all know from TV and presenting. And I grew up watching your fashion advice and all the things. And I'm so happy to have you here because Catt is the catalyst for my facelift.
Oh my gosh, catalyst with 2 T's. I love it. That's amazing. I know we really connected over the facelift. And here we are still kind of talking about it 2 years later, while everybody, I feel like, and their sister are doing the facelift now, right?
I feel like we actually made it fashionable.
Yeah, I really do too. We were like doing it before it was on Vogue. And now, yeah, it's like everyone's...
I think my facelift got how many millions, Sergio? Views? 75 million views. And I think, what you did was sort of demystify it. And I think, you were one of the youngest people I knew to do it. And the funny thing is, you were so generous with your time because, other than DM each other before, so this is about 2 years ago, we had never met or anything. And Catt was so kind to let my husband, who was driving me nuts, FaceTime her, look at her scars, look at her face with or without makeup. I mean, you were amazing. And it really did sort of prompt me to go and do it. And I think, you and I talking about it has now made it en fashion.
Yeah. It's like the facelift has come so far because, for someone who was covering celebrities for the last, 20 years, it was always like, the stars were leaving the plastic surgeon cloaked with, something over. They never wanted to be seen. They were going out the back door. And now it's like everybody talks about it as part of the conversation. But thank you for saying what you said. And, for me being like generous and opening up. But that's the kind of the whole reason I wanted to talk about it, because as a seeker and just a journalist, by definition, I'm curious. I wanted to know what it would be like. What would the experience be like as a whole? And then I wanted to report back to women to go like, listen, if you are considering this, if this is something you want for your life, here's what it looks like. Here's the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything. So I did kind of like let it all hang out. And I can't remember how we connected because it just piqued your interest, obviously. And of course, you and your nature, you were like, tell me everything. Let's go live. I want to see it now. And, it was so fun to talk about it with you. And I'm so glad you did it.
That's the amazing thing about social media today. You can really get in contact with anyone. And if, whether that person or another person picks up or not, the point is you have access to everything today. And I think what was so nice, and obviously maybe it's different because I had a certain level of celebrity too, so it wasn't like a stalker reaching out to you. But, I think people are so warm and generous because we are opening our lives. And I do remember the days where you would see people like literally with, blankets over their heads being ushered into the back of their cars. And now it's kind of cool to have had a facelift.
Right.
Which is crazy.
And the age, you brought that up. You were like, you were one of the youngest people. 48 doesn't sound young, but at the time, you certainly weren't seeing that in the mainstream. You weren't seeing that on social media at all. And that was the headline. When I did kind of go public with my facelift, the headline like from Glamour magazine was like, at 48. And people were like, you're too young. When in fact, actually, no, like the science is there that, your body can repair quicker and the results aren't as extreme. You don't look like you just had work. There were so many advantages to doing it. So I'm really glad I did it when I did it.
I was 45 and I feel like, I'm so glad I did it then for exactly the same reasons. I think the reason we see all these windswept women walking around in the old days is because people did wait too long.
Yes.
To go from a fully sort of aged face to this like very tight face, what do you expect? Of course it looks like you've had something yanked up, because they have yanked it up. And us, I think, was just, a nice tweak. And I look back at my pictures and, oh my God, all the fillers have gone. My face is a nicer shape. It's just so much better. It's all me. I'm so happy I did it. I mean, obviously there are other bits of my body now I would like to improve, but in general, I think
you're never ever like fully done or perfect. Like, that's important to say, I feel like, because you do the facelift and you think, oh, then that'll be it. I mean, as a human, you're always kind of constantly critiquing yourself. You're always looking in the mirror yourself. I don't know what it was like for you, but like, I loved and love my facelift. I have zero regrets about it. But then there's always something that you can tweak. And then suddenly it's, well, what about my mouth? Well, you can't pull the mouth. That was the whole point. You wanted it to look natural, but then the wrinkles start coming around your lips. And then it's like, with me, I started obsessing about my ears, because that was a little off for me. And I'm happy to talk about what I did. I guess it's technically called a revision on the facelift. But I just want women to know, like, it's never like a one and done,
but
right?
Wait, what
like,
did you
that
do?
would be
What
lying.
was the revision?
The revision was my ears, because I have you have attached earlobes also, don't you? I don't have detached earlobes. There was just like a swelling or almost like a lengthening of my earlobe, so that when you looked at me and my profile, I felt like I had a stretched ear. So I went back to Dr. Kim. I was like, this is kind of bugging me. It was like a little swollen and enlarged. And so he went in and snipped some of my earlobe off, literally, to make it smaller and just reattach it.
I just did that.
You did it too?
Yes, of course. And I think I don't know why they
Because your
don't.
ears, I'm looking at your ear, I'm like, your ear looks so perfect.
Thank
you
you.
did the same thing.
I did,
Have you
because-
talked about this?
No. And I just did it. I did it last time I was in LA. And the reason I did it, the same thing, like after my face looked so snatched and full, I had these long earlobes from which is, you forget because you're so focused on your face. I don't know why surgeons just don't tell you to do it at the same time. No one suggested it. And, I was like, I would put my ears back, and you have to cut this little bit, lift it a little bit closer. Put my hair back, and I would see these lengthened earlobes, and I was like, okay, they look so big now. And so last time I was here, I just took them off, and I'm so happy I did it. That makes such a difference.
Huge difference.
It's like,
See,
it really
ladies,
is
no
useful.
one's telling you this. I'm so glad we're talking about this.
My girlfriend just had a facelift with my doctor, Kasabian, and he told me she actually revised her nose as well because of the stretching, which I didn't even know was a
Really?
thing. Yeah. He's made the nose thinner because you do also, as you get older, your nose gets bigger.
I
Again,
know.
didn't know about that.
I did. I just have to look in the mirror to know.
Right,
Look
so-
at photos. I'm like, wow, I know. I don't think it was my facelift. I think it's just, yes, as
Yeah.
we get older, things change.
So there are little bits, but I can't tell you, whether you want to do the nose or the anything else. I can't tell you how much. Did you do a lip lift?
No.
No, nor have I. The ears makes a weirdly huge difference.
Yeah.
They're old ears you can see a mile away. And especially because we're in fashion, so we wear all these ridiculous earrings.
Yes. And you get a facelift, you want to show off your face. You don't want to hide, even though I look like I am right now, behind my hair. You want to show your face. So the ears matter. It's part of your face, really, at the end of the day.
The ears matter.
Ears
So
matter.
I would
what is
say
that called, what we had? It's just a revision, like an ear. I don't even know what it's called, what we did. But
ear revision. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
I have no idea.
yeah.
I would suggest to any woman doing that. They were using fillers and stuff like that to make them more plump, but then they just look weirdly fat. But an ear revision is a game changer for the whole.
And quick and easy, right? Like mine was just like in and out, not a big deal. Healed like almost instantly. Got the stitches removed.
I don't even think I was asleep.
Very easy. Yeah.
No, you're not asleep.
No. Yeah.
Super
easy. So glad I did that as well.
I think the next area that I'm really focusing on is between my boobs, the lines, sleep
No,
lines, which I
girl.
just can't
Are we
bear.
just living the same lives?
I know, Kat just mentioned it too.
We're like-
And I don't know an easy answer to that because there is no surgery for that. So that's not happening. So we just have to find something that really improves these sleep lines, which I'm doing PRP, filler that boost your own collagen production, salmon sperm. But, if we find something, we'll keep you up to date.
How do you sleep? Do you sleep on, or like some women I know, which it blows my mind, like have always been back sleepers and they don't have the deep lines because of how they have slept for the last, 30 years. I am so squashed. I literally woke up in the middle of the night last night, hugging myself. Like I am constantly just squashing my chest.
Me too. And it's awful. I've tried putting pillows between it. I wear bras now, but sometimes I forget. I usually put my husband's arm between them, and then he can't stay there all night. Get too hot. I've tried everything, ladies.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is. It's an ongoing thing. I was thinking to try CO2 laser there, or to do more and more lasers, like the Korean, and just go in heavy. My doctor in Dubai that does heavy lasers is like, we'll just blast it.
Yeah, blast it. I've done CO2 on my chest.
Oh, and?
I did it about a year ago and I loved the results. But I knew at the time, my doctor
permanent.
was like, this won't be a one. Like I have so much sun damage in addition to my lines right here. And I just haven't been back. So I want to do that again. I did notice like a softening of the lines. So I just keep telling everyone, because I also just did a little CO2 on my face, that I just want to do CO2 from my neck down, my whole body. Like, right? That's what happens, because it really does injure the skin in a way that makes it want to repair and heal. And it looks really nice after.
I did laser on my whole body, which we're talking about, BBL and ultra clear, and I've got to do it again. I mean, I look like I've got sunspots because
you really don't. I honestly can tell a difference. That's amazing. How many lasers
I've
have
done
you had?
2.
Okay.
But also because I've got a spray tan that kind of attaches to them. But when my spray tan is gone, my skin is insane from it, and I can't tell you.
You used to have like more freckles.
Yeah,
It looks
much
incredible.
more, and it's also really softens it. So I can't tell you enough if you can, or if you can get these things, because I do understand that they're out of a lot of people's budgets. They're not cheap today.
What's it cost to laser your whole body?
That I don't know.
Like, I don't even want to know.
I do deals.
I want to know. I know. I need a deal. I need a good deal.
I mean, you should be walking in and easily get a deal, but maybe not.
I'm going to do it. I'll get naked for my laser body deal.
Well, there you go, guys. If any doctors are out there and wants to get Cat naked for a laser body deal, she's in. I mean, also, I think everyone's running to Korea as well, by the way.
Yeah.
That looks amazing. I'm totally up for that too. So
we should go.
Oh, we should report back and do these things.
I mean, now that we're like the Facelift twins, let's go to Korea
and do our whole bodies and
document the whole thing. I mean, I am in.
I'm in. I'll go with you. And that's what we were talking today about. Like, I think, we're both very similar ages. We're kind of living this, we've had these kind of major sort of TV careers. I mean, mine a little less than yours, but,
not true.
And we're at different phases of our lives, and that's not what excites us anymore. Yeah. And you were saying that you're in the quiet phase of your life.
Yeah, it's so interesting, Caroline. I guess the best way to describe it, firstly, is just that in my own body, I feel like a different person. My nervous system is so at peace. Like, I've really transitioned from the red carpets, the glam, the hustle, the bustle, raising my kids, working, full time, and just burning at all cylinders, to moving to 50 acres, doing yoga, meditating every day, and just really coming back to myself is the way I like to describe it. It's like I feel like I'm home again after really, oh, by the way, I quit drinking. I mean, that's huge. Like,
when did that happen?
I stopped drinking when I turned 51 last August, and I've never felt better. I mean, maybe even better than after I got the facelift, because now I just feel a certain kind of calm. The lens in which I kind of look at life, everything's just shifted for the better. And so, yes, it does feel quiet. And then, I met my partner, Greg, after a lot of really bad relationships, really toxic relationships. Like, now I'm like finally in this very healthy romantic situation. So everything, it's kind of just humming at this really nice pace. But I am, itching now to like, what is the next chapter? How does this new kind of version of me, what does she do? How does she contribute? How does she impact other women? And what does that look like?
It's funny you say that, because I've always been slightly, not ADD, but like, go, go, go. And I think there's something, I'm 50 in April, and there's something about this like whole midlife awakening we're having. I'm in exactly the same position. Like I'm in the most romantic relationship I've ever been in, which, asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, this can't happen. Yeah. This is ridiculous. I wasn't ready for that, like somebody to always be with me and want to, love me like that. And, I think we were just talking about my retreats, and I was like, she has to come on one, because this is exactly what it's about. It is about, women who have had these careers, amazing careers, but now it's so universal what you're talking about. Yeah. It's not, I'm listening to you and like, okay, this is exactly how I feel. I've been in LA 6 weeks now. I went to one red carpet event just now, and I get hives, frankly. It's nice to sort of once in a while, because I haven't been for however many years in LA for these kind of things. It's fun to see everyone. But then if I really sat back in my chair, looked around the room, everybody was running around the room to see who they could see. No one's really focused in the moment or on the table they're on. Yeah. Everybody wants to be somewhere else. And, at the end of the day, I understand it, but I'm not there anymore.
Right.
It's just not who I am. I'm totally at peace with my life. I don't find that the glamorous life. I find my retreats the glamorous life. I like Dubai, because I live, in the sun outside, and like you just said, you live in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. It's just quiet. You live in a cabin. I mean, okay, I live outside town, and I'm building an island house. And I think it's so funny that
we're on like these similar paths and this similar trajectory. And what you're describing, I mean, Caroline, having lived here now for 20 years in LA, like that, the allure, sure, as a little girl, that was the dream for me. I come from a very small town in the middle of America, and the dream was Hollywood. And then you get here and you live it.
For people that didn't know, who are joining today, like Cat was like the Oscar report. Tell them exactly who you used to interview and what it was. Like it was a cult. Like everybody wanted to be interviewed by you. Everybody.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. Wow. Well, it was a different time, right? Yeah. It was before TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. So the creme de la creme of Hollywood, the A-list actors, the George Clooney's and the Johnny Depps and the Julia Roberts, really make them. Right. I mean, once upon a time, there were just a few of us doing that job, right? So it was very competitive. And so it was like a dream to land that job. I had done local news for 10 years, and then I got on national TV. I got, auditioned and got the job on E!, which was seen around the world. So when it's seen in 150 countries, and that's how people are getting their celebrity news. Yeah, I was in a really heightened, high profile, high pressured job, and a wonderfully luxurious position of getting glam every day and being styled every day and traveling the world and going to film festivals. And it was incredible. I do think that time, that era is no more. I don't think we'll ever see that again for all of the obvious reasons. But to your point about being in the rooms and being at the red carpets and being at the events, I feel the exact same way. And what you were describing is performance. It's such a performance. It's so exhausting. Like I am done performing.
When someone goes, "How are you?" but they're looking,
oh dear God,
they're looking around the room to see if there's anyone there.
Of course.
And you're like, that they're asking you the question, but they want to go and see who's over there. I can't do that anymore. Like I don't like bullshit. So I have a bullshit meter, and I think that just happens. It switches on at 50.
Yes. Same. I'm allergic to that. I won't do it. I literally won't do it. And so yeah, I think the performances are over, and people are craving meaning. I don't know if it's our age. I don't know if it's what we've lived in all the various chapters. Similarly, been married before. That we're mothers, like all of these things. And then in your 50s or at midlife, I call it, you just kind of, you start to assess again, I think, right? You take an inventory of
what's important,
what matters.
And who was there. Yep. Actually, it was funny because we got a really big invitation yesterday to one of the big Oscars parties that Sergio was like dying to go to. But tomorrow is one of our friends' birthday parties that we've committed to. And I said exactly, he was like, "Oh, this will never happen again. We're never going to get to go to this." And I'm like, "No, I am not a bigger, better deal person. I cannot, that I will not do it. I'm like, you know, you need to learn that when you commit to something and you say yes to something, I don't give a fuck whether, you know, what it is, you need to stand by your word, because today, you know, in this world, the only thing you have is your word, sorry. You know, and people don't all the time. And I don't like people stepping on me. So I try to live, don't do to others what you wouldn't do to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, so I think it's so important because that doesn't exist here. You know, I've got close friends or friends that I see here, and sometimes they, you know, not diss you, but ghost you because there's something bigger, you know, or whatever. And I really can't bear it. And that's the problem, I think, with Hollywood as a whole, you know. And when people are going, where are you staying? I've been friends with Kristen 15 years. Like, you know, we're so solid. You know, we do our own thing. If I'm here, I go out to dinner some nights, have dinner with her some nights. And that's a proper relationship, right? One that just doesn't waver. And that's rare. And if you have them, hold on to them, people.
Yeah, that's true. I think friendships during this season are interesting also. However, I'm curious if you've found this, like, as I have changed and evolved, like not drinking, like reassessing my values, like my belief system, really being clear and having maybe more boundaries than I used to. Like, I can't do petty anymore. I can't spend time on like just negative BS, like you're saying. Like, for me, it's less about the events and more about like who I spend time with and the quality of that time. And so some of my like old friendships have fallen off almost because they needed to.
I completely agree. So I was going to actually go back to the not drinking. So look, I still drink, but no way near as much. We don't have alcohol in our house. We don't drink ever at dinners at our house. Since I think we've drunk once a week, you know, and I'm meaning 2 cocktails, if that, right? You know, where I'd come here and I would hit the town and get wasted and have so much fun. I'm not interested in doing that because that means the next day I'm out. And I have to be so focused while I'm here because I'm working in different time zones. And I'm like you, clear-headed now. And champagne, I don't know if it's a universal thing with age as well, but champagne hurts my tummy. I can't sleep. I bloat. And then I'm always bent double. And I'm like, you know, as long as I'm awake and peptides and all of that keep me up, really, then I can have a Diet Coke and be just as fun. And anyway, if anyone's been to LA lately, dinners start at 6:30. It's nuts. You're in bed by 10. And as for
That's my bedtime.
Yeah.
Totally.
As for losing friends, 100%, because I'm not as much fun. I used to do all the hosting. Everyone's like, what are we doing tonight? You know, where are we going? Because I got all the invitations to take everybody. And now there's less. And boundaries, people don't like boundaries. People like good time people. But since I set my boundaries, I have become more successful than I've ever been in my life. So all I can say to you for growth is you need to change the rooms that you're in.
Preach. I love that you said that. It's so interesting because I consider myself somewhat of a spiritual person more than maybe ever as of late. And I went away. Have you heard of Shaw Wellness?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I went to Shaw for the first time about 2 years ago. And I was like in downward dog doing yoga or whatever. And I had this voice come to me, and it really was, and I've told this story a few times, but this voice said, stay and your wildest dreams will come true. And the minute I heard that stay, I knew what it meant because I'd already kind of been taking an inventory of my relationship with alcohol. And it meant stop leaving yourself, stop numbing yourself, stop getting further away from yourself. The drink kind of it doesn't bring you closer to yourself. And so that was the first part of my whole kind of journey, and knowing and finally listening to those whispers, like, it's not serving me. And what are the possibilities of my life? What could my life look like if I was so crystal clear, if I was so on this like frequency that wasn't, you know, numb or wasn't, you know, unclear and foggy and unsure and had me waking up in the morning fumbling around my kitchen, like just on a different level. And I do feel like what you're saying about becoming more successful, I do feel like an ascension happening and like different things starting to bubble and opportunities coming my way. none of which have completely come to fruition, but I know that like these new opportunities are coming because of my choice. So I do think that is available to people if it's something they want to experiment with or explore. I don't know that I'll never, ever, spend the rest of my life not drinking. I don't even think it's about that. It's just an awareness. There's a real, I feel very awake to life right now. And I think I'm going to be rewarded because of that.
100% you are. And again, I'm the same. I'm happy. Tonight I'm going out with some girlfriends from Traitors, so I'm sure I'll have a cocktail. But, I used to have 3. Now I know I'll have a cocktail and I get buzzed off that. That's enough. Mm-hmm. And that's the one night this week. And I'm happy with that. And I go to bed and I wake up fresh. I go to the gym. I'm doing my peptides. And, I know that Sergio has been a big part of that with me because, I have someone to hang out with. He doesn't want me to get wasted and have a good time. Not have a good time. He wants me to have a good time, but he wants me to have a good time with him the next day and go to the gym and have a life. And I think when you can think clear, you can make quick decisions. How can you go to the office and make pivotal decisions in your life or stay downstairs and run a team if you can't, run yourself? Basically, you can't think straight because you're in pain. You're thinking about one part of your body that hurts and you're thinking, oh God, did I say that last night? Did I do that?
Exactly. The anxiety, the shame, the second guessing. It's just, there is no way that you're functioning at the level you could be had you not drank. And I was looking to all the people that I aspire to be like and that are uber successful. Guess what? Then I'll drink.
That is a very big thing that I have taken on this year. So someone said to me about my retreats, because I asked why they were coming, and they were going, I'm putting myself in rooms that I wouldn't normally get into. And, we're kind of their rabbit, the one they're chasing after, but we also have people we aspire to. Now, it doesn't mean that scary thing is I want to copy their career. I want to be like them. No, they could be in completely different careers than us. But if you look at the people that are really successful that you admire, let's say admire, like Emma Grede, I don't know, there's plenty. I mean, I admire Kim Kardashian's work ethic. Amazing.
She's not a big partier, is she?
Nope.
That girl is laser focused. She identified what she wanted at an early age. She wanted to be famous and she was going to do everything to make it happen. And she did.
And you have to respect that.
Yes.
And, Paris Hilton, all of them.
Yeah.
You have to look at Paris does work in clubs, so it's a little bit different, but Kim is going to law school. Mm-hmm. She's not drinking at all. Mm-hmm. They don't drink.
They're continuously bettering themselves.
And another thing I would say is put a list maybe of the women that you aspire to be or to look like and what their lives look like. Because I do believe dressing for success, getting dressed and making yourself look good in the morning also gives you that boost. I just sat outside for 5 minutes because I was feeling tired before Cat got here and just had the sun on my face. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do my peptides now. I'm going to have a very healthy lunch. And, also setting your day. You don't need to do more. You need to be focused and concise in each day. So I would say, and I think one of the biggest things Sergio and I learned from listening to a podcast was to choose 3, not 5, 3 things that you will achieve in that day, that you will not sleep until they were actually done.
That's good.
Yeah.
And what do you write them down every morning?
Write them down.
Yeah, that's good.
And so that you cannot go to bed till you have done, they don't have to be huge, but they are steps towards your goal, so it doesn't feel so big. It doesn't feel so scary, right? So I don't know how, I think one of my biggest influences since I moved to the Middle East, and obviously they didn't have so many influencers when I moved there. Now they're a dime a dozen, but when I came, there wasn't. And I watched businesswomen, real businesswomen. And I think, the reason we're now in the middle of developing over $50 million worth of real estate is because we watched this woman do it. And it's not like I'm emulating, I'm, copying her career because she's way ahead. But I think just watching her strive and do it, I'm like, okay, she can do it. I can do it. Why am I a TV star? Why can't I do property too?
Yes. I love that about you. You are a great example of that. It's one of the reasons I love kind of watching all of your shares because you act right? And so many people, I think, myself included, are guilty of talking themselves out of what is possible. And you continue to do. And it's so great to see. I mean, that's, I do a lot. I read a lot of the books and the podcasts like you. What?
Do you think you talk yourself out of it because you're scared of failing because you're Catt Sadler, and people, what will they think if they see you, who had this huge career, fuck up on your next one?
Honestly, I get that question. Not so much. Maybe 3-4 years ago, I'm so kind of into my healing that I really don't care as much what people think about me. I think my problem is I have like a little, like a perfection paralyzation, like where I just get paralyzed because I want everything. So I don't start. I know it's
biggest mistake.
It's huge.
Perfection, by the way, doesn't sell.
Right, I know that.
No one wants perfect.
I know.
If you present yourself as perfect, which is weird to me because you were the first person to put yourself unperfect.
Well, and I don't mean myself. I mean my art. So I don't mean I have to look perfect, because Lord knows I'm not. I don't mean how I look. I mean...
But you've been in TV forever. Reality TV doesn't work unless you fall down and get back up.
Right.
You have to have that arc.
Yes.
No one follows you if you don't fall down and fuck up. I've fucked up a million times.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see me advertise something and it's gone the next week because I haven't thought something through. I had things like, my dog beds. I really wanted to do the dog beds. We got loads of inquiries. Everybody wanted to fuck the dog beds. Hadn't thought about how much these things would be to ship because my audience is abroad. And it just was ridiculous. I was like, there is just no way to get around that. So there are things like that although the idea is good, the logistics today of doing it with import duties now and all of this, it just doesn't work. It can't work. So it's not like it's a bad idea. It's just... so complicated.
But I love that you sometimes you maybe don't think it through, but you're doing it anyway. I'm the opposite. I overthink it, never start it.
Yeah.
So I know that about myself. I think, back to even just sharing of my own life, even on social media, I think I am sharing more than I ever did. The facelift felt like a cause, like that whole experience was that I knew that I was serving women by just sharing so much of the vulnerability that came along with that. Now I just want to do that in my everyday. And you're right. The more I do that, the more I connect with women, the more I give them permission to just be, like we do. I show myself right before I came over here this morning, straight out of the shower, no filter. I do that all the time now.
But that's what business needs to be like.
Yes.
And I realize even when I'm selling, because obviously I'm employed by different brands as well. Like if I'm selling and I get a script, nothing. If you see it in my day-to-day life, like right now I'm wearing all my friends' stuff, right? L'Agence and, Melinda Maria, and I'm just wearing it, Astria. And I'm here. Everyone's going to go, oh my God, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And I'll sell shitloads from this. Yeah. Right? But if I stand here and go, oh, this is my L'Agence tank, it's 100% cotton, and there's no one gives a shit. And that's what, business is like now with my retreats, right? At the beginning, they're a hard sell because they're expensive. Now we have so many people just writing in, are you coming here? Are you coming here? Because they see the videos, the videos of all the women. They can see real women that look like you and me and, going on these trips together. And they're like, oh, I want that. So you just have to not, and of course I panicked with things like that. I still have imposter syndrome. Like, why would someone pay this much money to come and see me and all of this? But then when we're there, I'm like, I know exactly why they're paying this much money.
Exactly.
Because it's groundbreaking. No one else is doing this.
Yes.
So you just have to go on and believe in yourself because no one is going to push you over that cliff.
Right. And getting there is so much about conducting yourself every day in a way that is loving, self-loving, stepping into your power, which was part of the whole full picture part of the not drinking for me, because it's I want to choose intentionally every day in a way that reflects my own love for myself. So the more I love myself, then I can do these things we're talking about and not second guess myself and not care what people think and fail and then do it all over again.
I mean, I also don't understand drinking for numbing of pain, which I find quite hard because I actually find that drinking brings more pain because you get the anxiety, the self-doubt, the all of the above, like it just adds to your pain. So if you're doing it to numb certain things, it's only going to add to your pain, your shame, and actually never bring you what you need. And today, with life being as fast paced and not scary, but different, you have to have, peripheral vision at this point. We have AI, we have, the world being in a very difficult position right now. We need to understand, none of us understand where we're going. So the only person that's going to take care of you today is you. Yeah. And you can't rely on relationships. You can't rely on your husband always. I mean, hopefully you can, but you also want to be prepared if you can't, and how you can rely on yourself as a woman.
That's right. We come into the world alone. We're going to leave the world alone. So you better make friends with her, right?
Yeah.
I love spending time with myself. I used to say maybe I didn't. I think a lot of people who are averse to meditation and journaling and going in and really getting to know themselves, all these things, the busier, the better, the more hectic, the better. The noise is great. They don't want to get still and quiet, but that's where all the answers are. And if you can go there and befriend yourself, anything is possible.
I love that. I really love that. I think that's, just an amazing place to leave this, but becoming and liking the woman you are in your 50s. And I don't know about you, but I really feel like this is just the beginning for me. Mm-hmm. I have found my purpose, and, it sounds to me like that's where you are right now.
I feel very similar to how I did when we started this conversation back early in my career, when I was so hungry and I had, there was so much excitement associated with chasing my dream and sharing my gifts and, being on TV for me was about interviewing people and really the art of the interview and all of that. And I did that. I feel the very similar feeling now where it's I do want to connect with women in the ways we're talking about, help them become. We said the becoming of the best self that they can be. And so it's a little bit about what the book I'm writing is about. It's what my Substack is about.
Yes. Tell me, what is a Substack?
I love that, Caroline, you don't know this. It makes me laugh so much. I thought it was a
peptide.
Yes, which is Substack's a new peptide. Substack it's another social media platform. And a lot of people, everybody from Kelly Wearstler to a lot of celebrities are on there now. And it started out as kind of a written essay, written diary, written article. So it's it could be your book in short little plot points. So I'm kind of writing my book, but on Substack. It's called Substantial. That should tell you something. It's meaningful offerings about anything and everything from, for me, will I get married again? Will I or won't I? Do I need to? Or maybe I never do need. I've been married twice. Maybe I don't. So it's more exploration of what it means to be a woman at midlife and how to curate a beautiful life that you love every single day. So I'm sharing a lot of my teachings, the things I've learned on Substack in written form, and people subscribe.
So how do they find you?
They go to Substack or just go to my Instagram. There's a link, but it's just my name, Catt Sadler, and it's called Substantial. But people subscribe and pay to read it. And there's a new video format too, which is why I think you'll have fun exploring it. Now there's a whole built-in recording studio. They are moving to video as well. It's kind of the new independent media of if you want more richness and actual long form content again, it's a great place to go and spend time.
Oh, amazing.
So go subscribe to my Substack would be great. And just follow me on Instagram. It's all there.
So before we leave, I just have some quick questions for you. One, at this age, will you or won't you get married?
Can I say maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Botox or facelift?
For now, Botox.
And do you like drugstore skincare or expensive skincare?
Expensive. I spend more on my skincare than my wardrobe, truly.
Really?
I do. I know.
Wow. Morning or nighttime routine?
Morning.
LA beauty trend you secretly love?
Beauty trend I secretly love. What's it called when you're drowning? this drowning approach to your skincare. I think it's called drowning. And it's like you can't put enough on.
Is that steps you mean? Or
Yes, it's
Wow.
like you're drowning. The serum, the essence, there's no such thing as too much on your face at once. That's usually done at nighttime. And I think it's called drowning. And I love it. It used to be like only do your 3 steps and then call it a day and go to bed. But like you can drown your face in skincare. And I do.
What about your hair though?
My hair?
Doesn't it all get messy?
No.
No. And one thing one thing that women should stop worrying about after 40.
The past.
I'm so with you. Don't look back because you're not going that way. I don't understand why people really ruin their lives thinking, rehashing, and looking at the past. No, but actually, that's an interesting question because that is one reason I'm not that keen on therapy for women, because you're always rehashing it. And how do you move forward if you're always thinking and rehashing the past? So how do you deal with that? Because you like therapy.
Yeah, I think you can use therapy to make peace with the past. I think that can be useful. Like relationships with your parents, that kind of thing. Like make some sense of it, but then wrap it up, put a bow on it, and keep it moving. I think then therapy should be used for current day, maybe issues, relationships, challenges, and then you can kind of use it to help navigate through the present time. But I agree with you. I don't think you should spend a lot of time on your past. I mean, I think it's good to understand it though, because if you can have an understanding of old patterns or an understanding of maybe some trauma or whatever did happen that explains maybe some of your past behavior and why you did what you did or why you choose that guy or that terrible person in your life, why you did that. If you can figure out those reasons, then you can kind of break free and create a new now.
And I think that's interesting for the last point as well, is because I was sitting with some older women last night. And, why do we feel like getting married is the ultimate goal, I suppose, at our age? Because, you've been married, you have kids. We're not looking for anything else, but it's like your relationship isn't cemented unless you have this. But it is. Like, why do we feel as women that we need to do this?
It's so interesting. That's such an interesting question. And I think it depends really on your situation.
But yeah, is it you or him that's not sure right now?
It's just a conversation we keep having. And here, I'll tell you the story. We both met I was almost 50. He's a little older than me, 5 years older than me. And we'd both been married. We've both had failed marriages. There's 6 kids between us. And when we met and we were so just even opening your heart again. I mean, you know how it is. Like sometimes you're like, no, like it's easy to be cynical. Women are like, I've been there, done this. I'm never going to love again. You don't trust it again. But luckily, Greg and I were both like very open to love. And we'd kind of just been like, we're lovers. You're never going to not love again. Anyway, but we met, and in that very first year in the honeymoon stage, it was very much like, I don't need to ever get married again. And I was like, I don't ever need to get married again. It was almost like we were afraid because we'd been so broken and wounded through our marriages. But then real life happens, and he has 3 young kids, Caroline. We're talking 9, 11, 12, and his oldest just went off to college. And so if I'm in the home as the maternal figure now, and I am helping raise his children, and we are doing this as grown-ass adults, we're not in our 20s playing around. It's like this is real adult life, and there are homes involved and property involved, and I'm mothering. Like that word cement, I use that a lot. It's like maybe we do want to cement this and formalize this for the kids, less that I need it because I need a title. I've been there, done that. I know that that's not going to change anything, but it's almost I don't love to use the word security or even safety, but back to just kind of grounding the gravity of this situation. It isn't a light, just fun relationship. This is like our forever. And so part of me and part of us, we talk about it. It's like, maybe now we do want to get married. Neither of us thought we wanted it or had to have it. And we've been there, done that. But now we're kind of like, that almost will help our relationship evolve. I don't like the term girlfriend at 51. Right? Like I'm braiding his young girl's hair before school. Like this is it. But I'm your dad's girlfriend? No. You know what I mean?
I understand that. I get that. I think, that's what I was saying. And you can choose to have a companion when you're a lot older. But I think at this age, that's what Sergio and I decided as well. He's bringing up my children. He's fully in it. He didn't want to be just my boyfriend, my toy boy, my lover, whatever everyone wanted to say.
Right.
Back then, he wanted to be my husband. And that just does kind of shut everybody's mouth, I suppose.
A little bit. And yes, but more for me. I guess maybe it is more for everybody else. If I'm worried about the title of girlfriend, then I guess I do care what people think to some degree. But yeah, TBD on that. To be continued. I'll call you. You'll be the first to know.
Let me know.
Okay.
I'm too old to be a bridesmaid, I think. Thank you for coming in today. I'm so happy to finally meet you. And thank you for listening to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. I could literally continue this conversation forever.
The next time you come to LA.